Okay, good evening everyone once again, and welcome to another class, right, in blockchain UNN's Web3 bootcamp. I believe this should be our 11th contact, and for the next few contacts, right, we're going to be taking a series on NFTs. So you're going to be learning about NFTs, why they are important to the ecosystem. We're going to go through the EIP, try to understand it from a technical point of view, right? Then we are also going to be exploring OpenSea. OpenSea is an NFT marketplace where you can buy and sell NFTs. And finally, from next week, we're going to build our own NFT smart contracts with Open Zeppelin library, and we are going to push our token URIs to IPFS. We're going to learn about IPFS. We're going to learn about Pinata. We're going to be learning about a whole lot of technologies, right? And for those who said they still have issues with writing deployment scripts, we're going to write deployment scripts for our NFT contract. We're going to deploy it to Etherscan and most likely try to interact with it. And yeah, so without further ado, I think we can get started. So I'll share my screen. Right. So the person who's supposed to assist me, my assistant teacher, is not here today, so I would have to be doing everything myself. So if you have any questions, I would really appreciate if you can unmute your mic instead and ask rather than use the chat, because I'll be checking the chat very less of. I'll still try to check the chat too. But if you have any questions, feel free to unmute your mic and ask me your questions, right? Um okay, so let's start from this particular introduction to ER 721 by ethereum.org. This is something I yeah. Okay, so basically we would need to start with understanding what an NFT is, right? We need to start with understanding what an NFT is. So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. To understand what a non-fungible token is, right, we need to first understand what a fungible token is. I really do not want all these distractions. To understand what a non-fungible token is, right, we need to first of all understand what a fungible token means, right? So last, I think in one of our previous contacts, right, we touched on the ERS-20 token and how you could use it to create virtual money on the blockchain. 20 token, or with even let's use the normal money, right? Normal Nigerian naira, it's common knowledge that 20 naira everywhere has the same value. It's 20 naira. 100 naira everywhere has the same value. It's 100 naira. So if I have a goods worth 100 naira, right? You can give me your 100 naira and take my goods, and we can even swap 100 naira for 100 naira, and you'll not feel cheated, right? You would, because obviously we believe that anywhere you go, a 100 naira note would have the value of a 100 naira note. A 1,000 naira note should have a value of 1,000 naira note. And this is what it means to be fungible. The fungible items can be exchanged for other items that are of, like, how do I explain that? Like are assumed to be of the same value, right? So just like with ERS-20 tokens, right, they're fungible because let's say you have an ERS-20 token such as Uniswap, sorry, as the unit token, right? Or let's use USDT, the stablecoin USDT, right? So 100 USDT would be 100 USDT, same 100 USDT anywhere around the world, right? So if you carry 100 USDT to Canada, it doesn't change the fact that it's still 100 USDT. You carry 100 USDT to America, it doesn't change the fact that it's still 100 USDT, right? That's what it means to be fungible. It means that the value is not unique, basically. So it can be easily exchanged for something of like, should I say, similar value, right? Now, that brings us to non-fungible tokens. So, a non-fungible token is basically like the opposite of a fungible token, right? It's used to identify things that we consider unique. Now, think of things like houses, right? Think of things like properties. Think of things like digital art. So you know that the values of these things are, how did you see, right? The values of these things are not how, better word should be, constant, right? For example, um, if I place two-story buildings side by side, like most likely they would be built with different materials, right? So they will not have the same structure. They would most likely not have the same look, and they cannot just be easily exchanged for one another. Before we exchange, I start putting a whole lot of things into consideration, right? The same thing for digital art. So arts, paintings, and all these things, right? The Get the value we assign to them because of how we feel about them. So these are some of the things that we consider unique, and these kind of things are things that are difficult to virtually represent, right? So, like I explained earlier, we could use an ERS-20 token to like probably represent the Nigerian naira, just like we use USDT to like represent the dollars, right? Dollar back down. You know that one USDT is equivalent to $1 everywhere you go, right? But how about if we want to put, let's say, our digital art on the blockchain? How do we do something like that? So that's where NFTs come into play. Now, I think NFTs, I can't remember the year they were introduced, right? So, but since the inception of NFTs, right, we've seen like a huge use for them in like representing digital art, collectibles. It has given creators and artists a platform to market their goods virtually, to market their goods. You know that if you buy one BEC NFT, right, you know that you are sure you bought the right thing. So there's also the authenticity you get from the fact that it is on the blockchain. You can always verify the source, right? You could always verify that, okay, the thing I bought is the real thing. So, but before we dive into the importance of NFTs, let's just look at what they have in the docs here. So what's year 721 basically? So the year 721 introduces the NFT standard. We're going to be taking a look at it, right? So the NFT basically is a type of token that is unique and can have different value than another token from the same smart contract, maybe due to its age, its rarity, or even something else like its visuals, right? Yeah, so NFTs have a U256 variable called the token ID, which can be used to represent them. And I don't want us to dive into. I would want us to go through this EIP like in details, but before then, I just want us to get like an overview of what an NFT is and basically how NFTs are important or useful to the ecosystem. All right. So it was basically proposed by William Entrikin, Dieta Shelley, Jacob Evans, and Nastasia Sach in January 2018. And it basically implements an API for tokens within smart contracts. So basically, just like it was built to have a backward compatibility, like with there's 20 tokens. So it comes with functions like transfers, the functions that can be used to transfer tokens from one account to another. To like query the account balance of an account to get the owner of a specific token, to get the total supply of an NFT that's available on the network, and so on and so forth. So we are going to be taking a look into the interface, right? The specifications of this particular implementation. But before then, I wanted us to go through like importance of NFTs. I don't think this document lists the importance. Before we look at applications, I want us to look at the importance. like the reason why they're actually very valuable to the ecosystem. Let's see if I'll find some of these things are things you can actually read or research on your own, right? So we are not going to like spend a whole lot of time on them. So, but there are a lot of benefits and that NFTs provide to the ecosystem. One is like intellectual property. So NFTs basically allow individuals to own a piece of intellectual property. It is easier to like track ownership of intellectual property when it is embedded in a blockchain. It is also easier to ensure that the owner of the IP is not infringing on other people's intellectual property. So there's an example here. For example, a fashion designer can decide to create a garment and embed his or her design in a smart contract on the blockchain. So the blockchain can then record the unique design and like the designer's ownership of the design. So the designer can then choose to sell the design to a consumer who will be able to like authenticate that the design was done by that particular owner and was not just copied. So blockchains are very useful, right? They are when we define the blockchain, right, we said things put on the blockchain are difficult to like change, alter, or hack. Since we know that the blockchain is a system that cannot be altered or changed, right? We know that things put on the blockchain are permanent. It can be very useful, right, for storing things like intellectual properties, because over the years, right, one of the challenges that science and innovation has faced is the fact that most times someone works so hard to come up with an idea or something, and then someone else will just from the blues just come out and steal that idea and claim ownership of that idea, probably because he has more money, he has more power, he has more influence, and so on. But with the blockchain and NFTs, right, we could change this because I can decide to like patent my work on the blockchain, right? Create an intellectual property of my work on the blockchain. And anybody I want to sell that particular work to, right, can go to the blockchain to confirm that, oh, right, okay, this work was done by this person, this work is legit, right? He didn't copy it from someone else, something like that. So that's like a very important benefit of NFTs, right? So we can also use NFTs for insurance. So we can use them to provide insurance for objects that have value. For example, a product can be embedded within like a smart contract on the blockchain, and the smart contract can record specific attributes of the product, such as serial numbers, model numbers, manufacturing date, and so many more. So the smart contract can record the ownership of the product and the owner's detail. Something I want us to also touch on is the benefit of digital ownership, right? So NFTs basically has provided creators with one thing that has been that they have battled with for so long, right? And that's the ability to like have imprints of your work, like in the virtual world, right? Like have digital ownerships of your work. So basically with NFTs, right, you can, let's say you are a music producer, you are an artist, and so on and so forth, right? You can create um virtual representations of all these things and store them like in a smart contract. Now, this helps to ensure that your work is not duplicated. Someone cannot just steal your work anyhow, right? And it also helps prevent fraud. It helps prevent this. I remember there was this hackathon we applied for, we joined at the point that was like about 2 years ago, right? And the whole idea we built for the hackathon basically was like a product management system, right? Where like that could help companies basically authenticate or secure their products to ensure that other people like, because it's a normal thing basically, especially in Nigeria, where you see different people wearing, let's say they are wearing Gucci, those and Gabbana, but instead of the Gucci to have double C, right, to replace the double C with like double G or something like that. All this confusing stuff they do and people would not notice, right? Or you see Nike and instead of Nike it will be Nike or whatever it is, right? So of course the original ones to be made, the bad boys to make their own. Now this is a problem that a very what's it called again, counterfeit products, right? Counterfeit products is like a very big problem to manufacturing companies, because you have no idea how much in how much in dollars, right? That Nike loses steadily to counterfeit products, and a whole lot of other luxury brand owners too. They lose a whole lot of money to counterfeit products. So what if we have a way to like protect the integrity of these products, right, by taking advantage of the blockchain? So think about it. You could probably record the whole flow of the products. What's it called again? Economics. I forgot what it's called. Right, the whole process as it goes from the manufacturer down to like the consumer. All the processes are tracked and like stored on the blockchain. And for example, if you get a product, right, you could always check out the serial number on the blockchain to check if like the product is authentic and a whole lot of other things, right? So these are like some examples of how you can take advantage of NFTs to secure to fight against counterfeit products, right? You can also do that too for artistic works, creative works, right? Musicians and so on, they can actually like put their stuffs on chain, secure them in a smart contract to ensure that someone will not come up tomorrow, right, and steal their work and claim it is theirs, or a situation where um, you create an art. For example, we've seen a lot of fake versions of the original Mona Lisa art by Da Vinci, right? So imagine if Da Vinci had put his work on the blockchain, right? It would know that okay, if you want to buy the original Mona Lisa, here's the smart contract, here's the smart contract address and token ID you can actually use to purchase the original art. Every other thing you would see on the blockchain or you would see anywhere else should be fake. He has to have this address and this token ID for it to be like the valid Mona Lisa. These are many more are like the advantages that comes with NFTs. Also, there's also collectibles, right? NFTs are used to create valuable collectibles. For some of us who have like played on chain games, right? You collectibles are what makes game fun, right? For example, Call of Duty and the rest, you can buy guns, you can buy this, you can buy that, you can buy a whole lot of things in the games, right? And you can some games even gives you the ability to sell them, especially some on-chain blockchain games, right? They give you the ability to sell some of all these your collectibles to other gamers like within the game, right? So it has to be within the game. And these are more what makes the how you can create a gaming system that is vibrant, interactive, and a whole lot of other things, right? So collectibles are also a very valuable use of NFTs. Some of the collectibles you pick up in on-chain games, right, are NFTs, and these NFTs you can actually take them and sell them to like other persons who are interested in buying them to play those games. So there are also games where you can have a particular character, right, and you build this character to like a certain point. So as you probably train and you build the character gains more points. The score point of the character increases. Probably some particular characteristics of that particular character, right, increases. It makes the NFT more valuable, and then you can even sell the NFT basically at a higher price than maybe whatever you got it initially. So these are like very fun importance or benefits of NFTs, right? We also have representing real life assets. So, like I said earlier, you can have houses, a whole lot of other properties, cars, and so on and so forth. You can actually represent these assets on the blockchain in form of NFTs, right? And it's basically help you to for example, you can try to put your house on the blockchain, and anybody who wants to come buy the house does know you don't need to hire a lawyer, and the lawyer probably you guys will have to go through all the paperwork, and of course the lawyer most times will collect like 10% of whatever is the initial price of the house. You don't need to go through all those, right? The assets can easily be traded on like an exchange, a marketplace, or whatsoever and so forth, with smart contracts being the guarantor that everything is going to go as planned, right? And of course, the asset value can also always go up based on demand and supply. So there are very cool uses of NFTs, which I feel like is really yet to be explored by the ecosystem, rather than. But every time we just see scam stuffs popping up, right, and people spending money and everything going to ashes. But there are real life usages of NFTs. There's also property titles. You can use NFTs basically to represent real world properties. trade them, and so on and so forth. And there's also the whole research on using NFTs like for voting systems, right? So NFTs can be created to represent voting rights, and a group of tokens can be created to like represent a vote, and they can be traded on exchanges. So here are other importances of NFTs which you could probably go through, right? So with NFTs you have transparent ownership, so you are sure that there is no mago going on behind the scene. Everything is transparent, is on the blockchain, so you can always verify ownership. You can always verify that okay, Darlington actually owns these properties and he's not trying to like to defraud me, right? You can always verify that a particular mm, mm, work that is owned by, let's say, an inventor, an artist, or so on and so forth, it's actually owned by him, right? And he's not trying to like play some tricks on you. And of course, things are immutable. Once the data is recorded on the blockchain, obviously you can't change it, right? So this helps create like a transparent record of ownership and every transactions that go on as regards to that particular NFT, right? So there's also accessibility, greater accessibility, right? So it's with NFTs basically we know that um everything like that NFT is globally accessible. There's no exactly like some form of gatekeeping. You can easily transfer the ownership from one person to another. It's like mix the whole it makes like for example, let's say I represent a property online on the blockchain, right? It's difficult for me to gatekeep the kind of persons that will access the property. For example, I would not say that you have to like be ultra rich, you have to own this and own that. I have to see that you are a valuable person in the society for you to like come patronize me, right? Automatically it's accessible by everybody so far you have the money or whatever it is, right, to buy the property, you could always buy it, right? There are no like any gatekeeping. Of course, ownership is transferable. We already talked about that. There's a function to transfer NFTs from one person to another. It's verifiable. We already talked about transparent and it's flexible. All right. So you can take a look on the limitations of NFT yourselves later. Like I said earlier, I think I said this in the beginning of our class, right? I said that within this space, right, transitioning into Web3 development from Web2 development, you're going to do a whole lot of reading than even like, of course, you're going to code, you're going to write a lot of codes too, but you're also going to do like more reading that you've like exactly you've done in most of your life because there are a lot of new ideas and a lot of new things people are proposing every day. The ecosystem is like is evolving very rapidly, and for you to like keep up, right, you need to have an open mind. You need to be able you need to be ready to like study people's work, keep an open mind to people's ideas, read research papers, and so on and so forth. So just read up on NFTs, if possible, even write an article, publish on Twitter, tag blockchain UNN, and they'll probably retweet and so on and so forth. These are some of the things you can do that can help you like get more understanding of the concepts discussed, right, and even give you more visibility within the ecosystem. All right. So I believe we should have gotten a brief idea of um what NFTs are, right? Now we're going to dive into the technical part. We're going to be exploring the the initial proposal, the initial Ethereum improvement proposal. All right. So where do we start from? Okay. So EIPs are basically proposals that are made to propose a change basically within the Ethereum ecosystem. You need to go through what we call an Ethereum improvement proposal. So there are different levels you can make EIPs for the core level, for the networking level, and for even like the application level. So most times, most EIPs you'd make on the application level, right, are what we call ERCs, Ethereum request for comment. And an example is 721. 721 is an ERC, not exactly an EIP. So we're not going to like read a whole lot of all this stuff. So if you have time, in fact, create time, not a thing of if you have time, try to create time to like go through some of this yourself. Okay. So we'll start from here, basically the interface. So as you can see, for you to create the interface, basically we've talked about interfaces, right? We're not into interfaces is like it's like a specification for a smart contract. So if you want to interact with a smart contract, you need to like know the functions that are contained within the smart contract. Interfaces help you do that. And so the first thing you would need to take note of, right, when building an, as you say, your own NFT contract, because the reasons this EIP exists is to ensure consistency in interface within the ecosystem. So for you to build what you would call an NFT or an ERC 721 on Ethereum, you need to subscribe to this interface, right? You need to have most of all these functions contained here. So first of all, you need to have an event. So this event is emitted each time you transfer ownership from one person to another. It is also emitted when NFTs are like created. We saw that when we did the whole stuff we did with ERS20 contracts, right? So when we meet NFTs into existence, we also emit the transfer events, just that we'll set the from address to 0. So same here, right? When you emit a transfer event for like a new NFT that is created, just simply send the from address to you just simply set the from address to 0. And when you destroy it, you set the to address to 0. So you emit like I said, you emit the transfer event for when NFTs change from one person to another. The from address is the place, the address you are sending from, right? The to address is the address you are sending to, and the token ID is the identification or the UN 256 number that is used to like represent that particular token on the blockchain. So every NFT must have like a token ID that's used to represent it. Then we have the approval event. So this particular event, right, is emitted when the approved address for an NFT is changed or reaffirmed. So when you like um create or approve a particular address to spend your NFT, you emit the approval event. And of course, just like the ERS20 token, you need to emit the owner, you need to emit the approved address, right? And the token ID you are approving to be spent by this particular address. Now we have approval for all. This last event, the approval for all events is basically emitted when an operator is enabled or disabled for an owner. So the operator in the cases of NFTs are most times like things like marketplaces, for example. So when you have like an NFT collection, right, you want to give the marketplace contract the ability to like sell your NFTs, right? So when a user tries to buy your NFT and he sends money to you, right? The NFT marketplace contract tries to transfer that particular NFT from your account to that user's account. And the way that is done is you need to give that operator or that marketplace the ability to manage all your NFTs. Now, this is a very risky one, and you need to be sure that you are calling this particular the approval for all function rights on only reliable operators, right? Operators you trust. So, but just know that marketplaces most times will require you to like give them that permission, right? The permission to manage all your NFTs. And so when you give that permission to an operator, you emit the approval for all event. And as you can see, what you're emitting is the owner, you're emitting the operator, and you're emitting like approved the token that's approved, right? Sorry, the status of the approval, whether it's true or false. All right. Now we have the balance of function. I think the balance of function at this point is like very self-explanatory. So basically, the balance of function is used to like count NFTs that are assigned to an owner. So if you want to check the number of NFTs that maybe in a collection that a particular owner has, right, you can always use the balance of, and you pass in the owner and it returns a in 256. So reading the comments, right, it says NFTs assigned to zero address are considered invalid and this function throws or queries above the about zero address. So an address from whom to query the balance is the owner, and it returns the number of NFTs owned by this owner. Okay, so we have the owner function. Don't worry if you don't understand some of all this. Just like I said earlier, you could always go back home to take a look at it, and we would on Sunday. I'm still exploring two ideas, right? I'm thinking we might build it from scratch, although that's going to take time, but we might just take the stress to go through that so that we'd have like a better understanding of how it works. Or we would use Open Zeppelin so that we can do that and also go through deploying our NFTs, moving our metadata, everything about the NFTs, right? The picture, the image, and so on and so forth. Trying to upload them to IPFS or Pinata. But let's see by Sunday we'll be able to sort that out. Then we have the safe transfer from function, which is used to transfer the ownership of an NFT from one address to another address. So, but the difference between the safe transfer from function and the number transfer from function is that the safe transfer from function will first of all, it would definitely true if the message was sent that as the person trying to like send the contract is not send the token is not the owner of that particular token, is going to throw an error. But it's also going to throw an error if like the two address is a zero address or the address is not valid. Basically the safe transfer from is going to throw an error, but I think the normal transfer from function behaves like the ERC20 transfer from function, right? It will just go through even if it's a zero address, but you would probably lose the NFT forever. So most times it's advised to use the safe transfer from function instead. And basically it can also take a particular field called data, right? Which is like you would pass in bytes form, right? And you could definitely use that, while you could definitely also not use that. For example, you can see the second interface here where like the data field is omitted. So they do the same things, right? They do the same thing basically, but in here you pass in the data, in here you don't. Then we have the transfer from function, which also does the same thing as the safe transfer from function, but sorry guys, a minute. Yep, sorry for that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So can you hear me? Yeah, sorry for that. Hard sometimes or something. Yeah, so just continuing from where we stopped, right? So the transfer from function um does the same thing, performs the same role as the safe transfer from function, right? Well, you need to be careful to ensure that the particular person you are sending to, right, is capable of receiving like NFTs, or else like the NFTs are going to be permanently lost, or like safe transfer from where like there are measures set in place to like check if check if that particular contract or whoever you're sending the NFT to has the ability to like handle NFTs. The transfer from function won't check that. It just behaves like normally as 20 token transfer function, and to just go through, right, but you would lose the NFT forever. Then there's the approve function, which I explained earlier, can be used to like approve a particular address to like spend that particular NFT to like let's say move it from one address to another. Then there's the set approval for all, which is used for operators. So the approve is used for like a particular address to approve just a single NFT to be spent, but you use the set approval for all for an operator who you want to approve to spend all your NFTs. So if you want to give an operator, which you normally do for marketplaces, right? If you want to give an operator the ability to manage all the NFTs you own, you will do that using the set approval for all functions. Now we have the get approved, which can be used to like get the approved address. So the particular address that's approved for like an NFT contract, you can get that using the get approved function. Then the is approved for all. This particular function can be used to like get an operator that has been authorized or approved to spend or manage the NFTs of a particular address. All right. So with most NFT contracts, you would notice this interface ERC 165, right? Now this interface is usually used to check that a particular contract supports should I say a particular interface, right? Contains some certain functions, and they're actually usually very important for NFT contracts. You want to ensure that your contracts um, subscribes to a particular interface or standard. So you normally want to you normally want to implement the ERC 165 interface, right? Okay, so we have the ERC 721 token receiver, which is mostly implemented on the side of, let's say, a wallet or a wallet, a marketplace, a broker, an auction, whatever it is, right? So, but basically, what this particular interface does is it signals that it has the ability to like accept safe transfers. So remember when we talk about safe transfer from function, we talked about how it can verify that a particular sender, that's a particular receiver, the person you are sending to, right, has the ability to receive NFTs. So basically what happens is it calls this ERC 721 token receiver, and as you can see, if this particular function is implemented, the on ERC 721 received, it will return a byte 4. So to return this basically a byte 4, which is like a catch-up of the function signature. So when returned, right, this is what like informs or the safe transfer from function, right, that this particular contract or whatever it is has the ability to like handle ERC 721 tokens. Now we have the metadata extension part, which is optional, but of course is should usually implemented, right? So this particular part it's similar to what you have for your ERC20 tokens. It's basically called the metadata is what you can use to like identify your ERC 721 is what you can use to like identify your NFT, what you can use to like identify your NFT contract. So we have the name function, which return like the name when called, right? Return the name of the NFT, and we have the symbol function, which when called to like return the symbol of that particular NFT. Then we have the token URI, which is like a JSON schema that contains different other informations about your NFTs. For example, we know that NFTs can be used to represent real life assets, can be used to represent different properties, right? So it means that you should be able to specify or write descriptions of this particular property or this particular item you are trying to like represent on the blockchain. Now, this is what the token URI helps you do, right? So using the JSON schema, you can define the properties, you can define the traits of the NFT, you can define the type of the NFT, and so on and so forth. So okay, so here's like the Of course, I even forgot about the image. The image is a very important aspect, right? Is what shows up like the representation of that particular NFT. So you do that using like this JSON schema, the token URI, and most times you store this in like you store these in like let's say on IPFS or Pinata. These are basically online storage systems. You can decentralized. I think decentralized storage is online decentralized storage systems. You can put stuff on, right? So we also have the enumeration extension, which is also optional, but of course I consider them necessary, right? So you can use this to you can implement this if you want people to be able to like track the number of NFTs that you have available. For example, you can query the total supply that an NFT has. So of course each NFT has a particular token ID, but right, but you can always query the total supply for like a particular collection or something. Then you can also enumerate valid NFTs by calling the token by index. So this basically would return the this will basically true if like index is greater than equals total supply, right? But to return the token identifier for that particular um NFT index, right? For that particular index you are trying to like query from. And we also have the token of owner by index, which can be used to track the NFTs that are should I say like assigned to an owner, and it will return like the token identifier for that particular indexed NFT that has been assigned to an owner. And as always, to also true if like the index you are passing in is greater than like the total supply. So there are also some caveats here. I really encourage that you go through these documents yourself because like it's a, it's to prepare you it's to prepare you in advance for our class on Sunday, right? So when we start when we basically start writing codes, it would definitely go a long way in like helping you, making things easier for you, right? Helping you understand these things. So when you can do go through these docs. All right, before we go, right, I would want us to would take a walk through OpenSea, right? OpenSea is a marketplace for NFTs, so you see what an NFT looks like, how we can use NFTs, and so on and so forth. Before then, give me a minute once again. Okay, so we're just going to head to OpenSea. OpenSea does IO, right? So OpenSea is basically the largest NFT marketplace. My mute unmuted. Okay. OpenSea is basically the largest NFT marketplace on Ethereum. We have other ones. I think we have Variable and many others, right? But OpenSea is currently the largest. And when you head to NFTs, OpenSea, right, you can see that there are like different categories. You can see there's a category for if you're looking for artworks, probably you're looking for painting, whatever it is, right? You can always find them in the art section. You can head to the gaming section if you are looking for gaming collectibles. So you are looking for probably some collectibles or characteristics or whatever it is for like for some on-chain games. You'll find them in the gaming section. There's the membership section, probably is a proof of attendance. Um, it's a proof of attendance or whatever it is, right? You find them in the membership section, right? You can also go to the PFPs to find different profile pictures. Probably if you're looking for like an NFT that you can use like as a profile picture, right? You can find them in this section. You can also see same for photography and music. Well, before we go into this, right, I just remembered I skipped one thing I wanted us to go through, which is like some popular use cases for NFTs currently. So we really talked about some benefits and importance of NFTs, right? But there are also some like should I say popular implementations, very huge projects that are currently using the currently using NFTs, right? For example, we talked about CryptoKitties. I don't know, a lot of us, some of us should have heard about CryptoKitties, which is like the game centered around breedable kitties. Basically, we know what kitties are, little cats. You can buy them, you can train them. I don't know how that works, right? I've not really used it. I've not really checked out, right? But you can breed them. Basically, you can take care of them, grow them to a certain point, and then sell them to other persons. So we also have Surare, which is like a very popular fantasy football game. You can collect limited edition collectibles. You can manage your teams, and you can compete in football games to like earn prizes. So there are links to some of these here, right? There's also the Ethereum name service, which of course is like the first one of the first implementation of NFTs a lot of persons like within the ecosystem like would encounter. So the Ethereum name service basically is think of it as a DID, decentralized naming service for wallets. It's a way of basically having creating like a digital identity for yourself because for example we know that the whole wallet UX sucks, right? And most times when you want to like send money to people, you have to go to your wallet, try to copy the address and send the address to them, and then they will send the money to you. There's also a chance here you might copy the wrong address because it's difficult cramming those 21 words or whatever it is in your head, right? So it's very difficult and a pain in the ass. For example, you can't get money from accept money from someone if you are not like you don't have your wallet at hand, right? But ENS comes to change this thing because ENS like links your um your address to like a particular name. Think of it just like the way domains work, right? On the internet, we know that the domains, for example, if you go to google.com, right, it's not google.com that is sent on the internet basically, but the internet is the internet acts like should I say like think of it as a storage box, right? And all these storage boxes are assigned some random numbers, which you would always see like for example you've seen something like 123.000 point this point one, right? These are like the normal address that are usually assigned to websites that are put on the internet and so on and so forth. But just to make the whole UX easier, right? People now came up with the concept of domain names where you can buy darlington.com, and if you search darlington.com it will like bring out it will go to the internet, right, and find the particular box where my let's say um my website or whatever it is, right, and just pop it out. So the same way, for example, let me see if I can show you guys my own ENS. There's Bravo's brief, sorry. Yeah, sorry for the background noise basically. So you can click on, for example, if you go to uh sorry about that Siri. Oh my god, just hanging. All right, I just started it up. Yeah, it's just okay. So if I head over to my MetaMask, right, let me just try logging in. Correct password. All right, so this is my wallet address, right, and I obviously cannot cram this, but I do have an Ethereum name service that's 0x and anybody can always send me money using just 0x instead. You can see the details of this particular NFT. So basically ENS represents your your name or whatever it is you are used to identify you that people can use to identify you on the blockchain, right? Using an NFT. So if someone send me money, right, I could just say, okay, send it to 0x Darlington.eth, and once he types it into like his wallet, right? So far the wallet has support for ENS, it would my name would definitely pop up. So all right. So because of time, let's just go ahead to look at other implementations. Uh, you can also use another use case for NFTs that's very popular within the ecosystem is what we call proof of attendance protocols or POP, right? So this is usually used to like think of how you mark attendance when you go to like you go to school when you're probably in secondary school or so, right? Some of us in UNN we still mark attendance. So think of how you go to class and you have to mark attendance to prove that you attended the class, right? So that's the same way proof of attendance protocols helps you like deliver free NFTs to people who like attend events to show that okay they actually attended that particular event. They are actually very useful and they are a fanciful way of like proving to your friend that you attended to an event, attended a particular event. So let's say you attended ETC Paris, right? But your friend doesn't want to believe that you attended ETC Paris, right? They probably shared a particular pool for attendees, which you scanned and you were given, right? Now this particular pool, you could just show it to your friend. Okay, here's a proof of attendance protocol from the ETC event that happened in Paris, and your friend could always go on the blockchain to verify that. Well, yeah, this is true. This was assigned to attendees from like ETC, and you can just use that to prove your attendance. Also, people also use poops, right, to like to save memories on chain, right? So let's say you are like a traveler, you can go probably you go to places, you can take pictures of them and like put them on chain and so on and so forth, right? You attend events, you meet popes, and you can probably just go back at some certain point, right, and scroll through them, and you're like, okay, this happened once in a while, this happened at a particular point, right? So they're actually a very cool use case for NFTs. Now there's also unstoppable domains, which is basically a domain service built on the blockchain. So just like I told you about the internet, right, and how um we assign readable names, right, to like the jargons that are usually used to represent these things on internet servers, right? That's the same thing unstoppable domains is trying to do on the blockchain, basically. So to assign domains to all the jargon addresses that smart contracts would usually have. Then there are also other ones like the popular BC, which stands for both APH Club, which sold for like millions of dollars. So it's a collection of just 10,000 unique NFTs, which also acts as a membership token to a a classic club, right? And also provide members with different perks and benefits that increases over time as a result of community efforts. So these are like some existing popular cool usages of NFTs within the ecosystem. There are also a whole lot of others you could definitely check up. Now, because of time, we're just going to head over to OpenSea, right? And we're going to try to do a whole lot of cool stuff like minting our own NFTs and so on and so forth. Um, all right. So, like I said earlier, you could buy an NFT. For example, let's say I want to buy this particular NFT. I don't know. I'll be buying a clown NFT though. I'm not a clown. Yeah, so for example, this is an NFT collection, right? Called Clownmingos. So as you can Clownmigos, and as you can see, there are like 5,000 items. You could see the date it was created, right? And this is like the earning that the creator gets from each NFT sale. You can see the chain that this NFT lives on. You can see the category. And here's a brief description: 5,000 unique clowns on the Ethereum blockchain, showing you the sad reality of NFT spaces. Of course, the NFT space on Ethereum is messed up because I have no idea why people would stick money to buy stuff like this, right? This is not even very expensive. The NFTs that probably sell for like Let's see if we'll find the base NFT. Yep, so I talked about the board a PH Club NFT, right? Now this has a whopping total of 1.2 million it's in total volume. And now here's the crazy part. There are just 9,998 of this existing, right? And you can see the best offer you can probably get for this is like 24 Do you know how much that is? Now this is like one, right? So basically people pay all this money just for, as humans we always want to be recognized as special, classy, probably um most times above whatever it is. Basically, if there are always categories, right, there are ranks. As humans we always want to be ranked higher than others, right? And that's to me that's most times the logic behind most of all these NFTs. So the fact that it is just 9,998, approximately 10,000, and only like 10,000 individuals can have that, like, in the world. Imagine being one of that 10,000 individual. Imagine how cool it would be. Now this person is selling his for like 26 ETH, 26 ETH, right? And as you can see that it's like $43,000, the money that will change my life. So of course, if I want to buy, you can click on buy now. Well, that's if you have that much money. I don't, but you can also make an offer. Uh, I don't think I have MetaMask on this particular extension. Let's move to another of my profile where I have MetaMask on. So let's try this instead. I breathe. Okay. Sorry. I don't know where this came up from. I have no idea why that is about. Let's just focus on this, right? So, as you can see, I could click on buy now, but obviously don't have 26.1998. But you're broke like me, right? And you probably want to make an offer. You can also make offers, but first of all, connect our wallet. So after connecting your wallet, right, you can also definitely make offers. So let's connect to OpenSea. Yep. So your offer could, here's the floor price, and they are giving you a best offer, probably like by doing a rough estimate of previous offers, right? So here's the best offer you could probably make for this particular NFT, right? But of course you can make whatever you want. You can decide to make an offer of 0.01. Of course, I don't even have up 0.01 in my wallet, right? But you can make whatever offer you want to make, right? And probably after a particular number of days, if that's like the best offer, the creator can seems like feels like he can get for his NFT, right? He could sell it even if it's like below or above his listing price. And you can obviously see different informations. For example, you can check the traits. So here are some traits about this particular NFT: the background, the clothes, the eyes, the mouth, the heart, the fur, and so on and so forth. Now, these traits are what makes this particular NFT this distinct from others. So, if these traits do not appeal to you, right, you could probably go back to the collection and search for a particular trait that would like appeal to you. And obviously, you could also create your own NFT, right? I have done that previously. You can create your own collection. For example, as you can see, I have just two NFTs on this particular wallet, my ENS and my PFP. None of them is obviously for sale. If you want to buy it, let me know. I'll sell my PFP for like I'll sell it for 30 each. So if you're interested in buying, just hit me up and would we'll talk about that. We could
That's it.
obviously,
Wow.
yeah, 30 Ethereum, 30 Ethereum. It's more for some of us on this call now,
No,
very
no
small.
vex, no vex. How much you just create the NFT?
It's not about how much used to create it to get it. It's the value I place on it to get.
Ah, okay, oh.
So like I said, you can make your offer. So you make your offer, I'll decide if it's the best offer I've received. So you can also see different offers that have been made for your NFT, right? Because for example, I don't know the person who muted the person's mic, right? But this person sounds like he would price me $5 for my PFP. So, but you can see the list of offers people have made, right? You could see different deals. You could see the created, if you've rated, and a whole lot of others. So, OpenSea is like a very great marketplace. You could obviously check it out. And OpenSea, of course, also gives you the ability to create your collection. So, let's say you are not, for people who are non-developers, right? Obviously, you are a developer. I expect you to like write your own smart contracts and customize it as much as you want, right? But OpenSea also does a good job, right? You could add your image, you could add a name, and so on and so forth. Let's see if I have any next up. Um, let's create our own image. I feel like this metaverse is going to sell for a lot of money. So you can decide to add a name. Let's call this blockchain UNN metaverse. You can add a link to your site. Obviously, if you don't sell an NFT, you have to like put some money into marketing, creating websites, and so on. So let's put our site as blockchain.org. Then you could provide a description. Um, enter the world of blah 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 blah. I don't care about that. A collection, obviously this is a collection where your items will appear, right? I have an untitled collection. So you can define properties for your NFTs, right? You can define characters, you can add more, define a lot of properties for your NFT. You can add levels, right, to make it interesting, to make some NFTs better than others, right? You can decide, okay, this has let's say it's like a gaming NFT, right? You can say this particular character is more advanced than other characters. He has the speed of this, he has the speed of that. It's faster. It's this is that. You can define a lot of traits and characteristics. You can add stats to numerical traits that are basically just shown as numbers. And if it's a sensitive content, if it's like a nude content or something, you have to specify it is right. You create the supply. You could say, okay, I want to create three of this, right? Then you can decide the blockchain you want it to go to. So let's say we want it to go to Ethereum, right? Then finally, we are going to click on create. So it says we should do capture verification. Select old school as a motorcycle. All right. So as you can see, I just created this collection, blockchain UNM metaverse. So we can decide to list items. So this is my collection, right? So let's say I want to list an item. Obviously don't have one yet, right? So I can first of all probably have to create an NFT first. Where do you do that again? I think you go to create. Um, let me see something. Oh, right. That's particular. Okay, as you can see, this is actually an NFT item within this my collection, right? And You can decide to make offers for them and so on and so forth. I don't think I have enough edge to do what I wanted to do next, right? But I'll add prices to them later and I'll send them to the group so that guys can patronize me. Right. So I think that's like, is there something else I would want us to know about OpenSea? You can go on it and explore. You can see a lot of stuff trending in art, trending in gaming, and so on and so forth, right? So the world of NFTs is very cool, but it's also a bit too messy. I feel like, of course, which is normal for humans. Things come up and we try to like take advantage of it, right? So most persons are more interested in using it to print money than actually finding real use cases for it, right? But there are still some very amazing use cases of NFTs that can be explored, and that's obviously why we hold boot camps like this, right? So we believe we have the next generation of thinkers. So after the boot camp, you can probably go tomorrow and decide you're going to start a real estate service on the blockchain. Come up with your own idea, and um you'll probably be the next Vitalik, right? So I think that would be about it for today, right? From Sunday, we are going to on Sunday try to like charge your devices. The initial going to be up by tomorrow at max. Don't worry. So there's going to be lights. Try to charge up your devices and just gear up for Sunday. Gear up for Sunday. On Sunday, we're going to be doing some live coding sessions. We're going to build our own NFT. We're going to deploy it and obviously verify it on Ethereum. And you can even put it up for sale on OpenSea too. You can also go ahead to do that. But I think that'll be it for today. I don't know if you have any questions. If you have any questions, you could probably ask. And
Yeah, yeah. I have a question.
okay,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Basically, if you recall, the last day there was one class we did concerning uploading of NFTs to NFT testnet. Now we used Solidity, like a smart contract, before deploying it to Firebase and the rest, like connecting Firebase and deploying to test NFT testnet, OpenSea testnet. So I want to get something. This one you did now, you created your own NFT using just creating you created an NFT by just clicking buttons without using any smart contract. Now, is it the same thing with the previous one? And now, if it is the same thing with the previous one we did in the last class, now I was like, okay, what's that need of creating an NFT with smart contract and deploying it to the mainnet or testnet instead of if we can actually create it just like you did now, then there will be no need writing any contract and deploying the NFT to either the mainnet or the testnet.
Okay, I think the best way to like basically explain this right is think about it right. You can create sites or you can decide to create sites using WordPress, right? But then you would still some most persons would always want to like go through the whole process of building their site from scratch, especially if you are looking to like um you are looking to like customize the logo. Just if you're building like a company website, right, where like you have certain features that are specific to your website, you probably want to build things out from scratch, right? So OpenSea gives you the ability to like deploy use let's say non-techies the ability to like create and deploy smart contracts on any blockchain, right? Without necessarily knowing how to code. So behind the scenes, right, the whole deployment, there's an already scripted smart contract which which is deployed for you, right? But most times you would probably want to go through the whole process of writing your own NFT smart contract, customizing it the way you want, and deploying it yourself manually, then listing on OpenSea. That will give you more options. You are not limited to you are not limited at any like you're not limited in any way, right? Compared to like when you do it on OpenSea. I don't know if you get. So basically, with OpenSea, you're also deploying a smart contract, but that's already been written for you. But with with when you write them out manually yourself, right, you can customize them the way you want.
Okay, 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 I understand. Yeah.
Okay, yes, some you have a question.
Yeah, I don't really have any question. I just want to contribute to what you told the
Okay.
guy. So he was asking why we needed to write smart contracts on our own instead of just clicking buttons to make it to create an NFT, which is much simpler. So I was going to tell him that sometimes we might or someone might want to like automate the creation of NFTs. You get, like, let's say um people do something, maybe anything online, yes, and now you have a server that maybe you just want it to create NFTs automatically, and you want to do that a couple of times, maybe hundreds of thousands of times. That is where writing the code yourself comes in as a developer. That's just what I think, and I want to contribute. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Sunto. So, Ben, I believe you like get the whole idea now, right?
Yeah, sure. I get.
All right. So, any more questions? No more questions. All right. In the absence of questions, I guess we'll be calling it a day here, right? We'll be calling it a day here. So, like I said earlier, we can go through. Let me just send link. I'll send links to this, the article we used, right, and the EIP and OpenSea also. Just go through these resources and try to read up more about NFTs. And like I said earlier, writing about the things you learn help a lot. So if you can create a Medium page and just write a little article on what you understand about NFTs, basically, to go a long way, like in helping your understanding, right? And we'll see you on Sunday. We'll see you on Sunday. Thank you so much, guys, for coming around. Do have an awesome night ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.